Wondering what makes up a sign's cost? Follow us for more insights. Check out our bio to contact us.
All right. Why do business signs cost so much? And what are clients paying for? So, a business sign isn't an off the shelf product, it's a one of a kind, custom made for your brand and your building piece of art. So, every wall, every facade, every logo, every font, and every other access condition is completely unique to your project. And so part of what you're paying for is for us to make your specific brand come to life. And part of it is the expertise of what does it actually take to pull all this together so that it looks fantastic and looks like we know exactly what we're doing all along. Some other parts of that cost, though, just to dial down into it, you've got materials. Aluminum, that's the shell of the sign. Acrylic, often in a frontlit sign, that's our face. In a backlit sign, that's our back. You've got those LEDs and wires. You've got lighting components. And then you've got high quality finishes, such as paint or vinyl, that allow us to capture your exact brand colors. Now, you've also got to layer in the cost of labor. So, skilled fabrication comes into play here as we shape, weld, wire, and assemble your sign, plus then the crew that goes and installs your sign. So all of these people can be novice or expert, and as with most things, you get what you pay for. You want a novice and pay novice prices, your logo will look like that, both in how it's made and how it's installed. And so you want that expertise. Sign making is both manufacturing, where it's just we're stamping this out at the factory, but it's also craftsmanship. We've got to have like a certain built-in ingenuity to understand how to bring all of these components to life and make it look great. So in other words, you're not just paying for a sign, you're investing in a custom-built, highly visible branding tool that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What's the biggest mistake a business can make when budgeting for a new sign? The biggest mistake is only budgeting for the fabrication cost and forgetting about all the other expenses that come with putting a sign on your building. Permit, city fees, electrical work, landlord approvals, installation challenges, often at thousands of dollars on top of the sign itself. So if those aren't planned for, there could be surprise costs and delays, or even that your sign design just needs to be scaled down to hit your budget. So always consider that. Now, another problem that I see, this is a common one with newer sign owners, is under budgeting from the start and then turning to the lowest priced vendor, hoping that this comes out the right way. So I see people will come to me and ask for, I want this beautiful gold sign, and it's got to be super big, and it's got to go up on this wall that is 10 stories high, and it needs to be shining for hundreds and hundreds of feet. And my budget is $1,500. Well, your budget doesn't match what you're actually looking for. And so at some point in time, you need to rectify what's more important, the budget or the overall aesthetic look and how my sign's going to look. And I often will see the newer, less experienced business owner come to me, and they really have anchored themselves to that budget. And they will do whatever it takes to get that budget to match what's in their mind. And that just isn't how it works out. They end up going to that low-cost vendor, and they get that dumpy little sign. So the smart approach, the way that I see more experienced clients, so the people who have multiple locations, have been in business for a while, they budget for that entire project. They know what they want from design and permitting all the way through installation and the long-term maintenance. So they work with qualified vendors like us who will be transparent with every step. That way, you avoid the surprises and get the sign that reflects your brand the right way. Have you ever seen a client's budget sign turn into a costly mistake? Yeah, and this is one of those questions where I really never can reveal actual names, but I am blessed enough that we've now had a long term of business where there's been jobs that I bid out, and I think and the customer tells me, I'm choosing this one because their price was so much lower. That's usually a sign of like, oh, let's see what happens. And because signs are out there and just ready to be viewed from the public, um, I will see like, oh, I see how you got that low price. I quoted it the way you wanted it, and that vendor gave you what your budget was. And I see that a lot. How does that manifest itself? It manifests that the sign just looks bad or cheap. You'll see jagged edges, or you'll see paint already peeling, or you'll see that it's been installed in a crooked way, or that it's not built to code. I see that a lot. We'll see that the materials have started to fade or crack or even fail within a year, or that the electrical components burn out, or that the installation actually damaged the building. And so I have to acknowledge that I've seen this happen frequently enough, that if I could warn any new business owner against making these decisions, hoping for the best, hoping that that vendor that comes off as sloppy and inattentive, but tells you that they can do it for such a cheap price, you're possibly heading down the wrong path. Another issue that we see is that low cost vendors don't show the full costs up front. Instead, they present that stripped down quote to win the job. Then they surprise you with extra costs for the permits or the electrical or the installation down the road. You wanted your sign installed? Well, I didn't include that in my price. It is crazy how many times that I see this with someone where they will either show me the quote or after the fact come back to me and tell me what happened. And I think, well, yeah, that's why our price was so different. Yeah, they made you think that that's what you were getting. You wanted to believe it because the price was too good to be true, and it was. So by the time the project's done, you end up spending almost as much or even more than if you just started with us in the first place. In the end, that budget sign can cost 2 or 3 times more once you factor in fixes, add-ons, and delays. I can't even tell you the amount of times that someone has come to me and asked us to now fix the cheap sign that some other vendor made, and this puts us in a precarious situation. They used the wrong materials from the start. I can't make their materials work better just because I touched them. And so we see this quite a bit.
Now that you know why signs cost so much, why don't you like it, follow us, and see us again.